From the newsroom, this is Eyewitness 12 with Bill Crafton, exclusive AccuWeather, and sports with Fred Wymore.
Good evening. Fred Wymore will be along with sports in just a little while. Our major story this evening, maybe the major story we've had in Cincinnati for a long time, the story of death and Holocaust at Beverly Hills Supper Club south of Newport in northern Kentucky. A fire which began tonight or just shortly after 8:30 this evening. There you see a live shot from the scene from our Edge report. That fire is still blazing. Reporter Kyle Hill is on the scene from Beverly Hills. Kyle?
Every available fire equipment piece of fire is on. There are scores.
That fire there in Beverly Hills this evening, we are not aware of the extent of death and injury at this point. Things are very confused as far as reports from the law enforcement officials, but that live picture that you see there shows that the picture from Beverly Hills, the fire that has been blazing out of control since about 8:30 this evening, about 2.5 hours ago, is still burning. There are still a couple of areas inside Beverly Hills that are unreachable by firemen because of the extreme heat and fire. They have called for more oxygen. They have called for more ice water, more flashlights. Beverly Hills there, as you can see, has been almost completely destroyed. The place was packed this evening. John Davidson in concert. There were at least 5,000 dinners served there this evening, on top of all of the other people that came there not to eat, but just to see the John Davidson program. There were 4 weddings going on at Beverly Hills, so the place was full. St. Luke's Hospital in northern Kentucky is full of critically injured people. They can take no more emergency patients. Other patients are now being sent to St. Elizabeth's and to Booth's Hospital, and now just moments ago they started coming into General Hospital here in Cincinnati. Many of the victims smoke inhalation. One of our photographers who was on the scene, and we'll have film of this a little bit later in the program, was standing in a bar area when fire officials began using his lights to help see to drag bodies out. There were at least 30 bodies that were counted by the photographer and reporter team on the scene being dragged out of a bar area as volunteers, survivors who were able to clear the building safely, came back in and helped carry people out and do what they could to make the path clear for firefighters. Firefighters from several area fire departments are in there. They're in there, of course, from Newport and from Covington, from Bellevue, from Dayton, and from many other areas in northern Kentucky. But that is the scene as it stands at this hour at the Beverly Hills nightclub south of Newport in northern Kentucky. It is a live report. That scene, as you're seeing it, is as it's happening right now. Flames were visible in Mount Adams, Ohio, several miles above Newport, Kentucky. We have film as it appeared earlier this evening. We'll be going back to that live picture in just a bit, but first let's look at the film as it was shot by photographer Carl Seid and reporter Joanne Moore on the scene. Well, I think we have that film ready now. We do not have that film ready now. In any case, the film from the Beverly Hills Supper Club will be coming up in a bit. Frankly, our batteries are beginning to run down. We are speaking just a little bit with somebody who's on the scene now, but it's not quite usable.
This is Dr. Fine, who is one of the doctors.
Ready.
Dr. Fine, who's one of the doctors in the area. The County Health Association has called for all available doctors and nurses in the Cincinnati area to report to their hospitals if they are not in the process of reporting to the Beverly Hills Supper Club. They are preparing all area hospitals for emergency patients. Now let's switch to the scene.
People who died most likely died of smoke inhalation too. Having been inside, when the announcement was made, there was really no idea how serious the fire was, and consequently most people were filing out slowly, which was good because probably more people would have died had they known that the fire was as severe as it is.
Now, I just talked to John Davidson. He's worried about his conductor.
I have no idea about that. All I can tell you is that I know there's about probably at least 35 to 40 people who are dead. If there's more people inside, I don't know. But
You say there was...
well, when the fellow came up on the stage, he said there was a fire. But everybody remained relatively calm. The comedians were on stage; they remained calm, and everybody left fairly orderly until the smoke started coming in the cabaret room where we were. We tried to go out the back exit, and it was too hot. The smoke came in, and my now just what you can see up on the hill, and just consider ourselves lucky, and thank God that we were able to get out alive. It's just an incredible
What you're saying, about 35 people,
at least that I know of, there's 35 people that are dead.
That was a Dr. Fine. That's all the identification we have on him now. He is a doctor from another city who had driven into the Cincinnati area and down to Newport to see the John Davidson program at the building that was on fire there this evening and is still on fire, the Beverly Hills Supper Club. So as the best of our knowledge, there may be 35 people dead. There may be more. We do know that area hospitals in northern Kentucky and in southern Ohio have filled up literally to the brim with emergency patients. All available life squad units have been sent to the scene, ambulances. And let's go back now to our Edge truck on the scene and see if we can get any more information from Beverly Hills.
Thank you very much, Bill. Joanne, you were here in the earlier part of the fire. Can you give us a little update as to what they think happened and so forth?
Well, they're not absolutely sure, Kyle, but from what I talked to a victim behind the building, and the lady told me that she was in the party room. She said they noticed that a cigarette had been left burning. It began smoking, and people evidently opened the door. The door let the wind in, it fanned the flames, and then spread. That is an unconfirmed report, but that's what I've gotten from at least 2 people who were in the room and 1 busboy.
The scene here, basically, Bill, is one there. The fire flared up in the area, I think immediately behind us about 10 or 15 minutes ago. We had thought it was pretty much under control. It has flared up again. There's a constant stream of a constant
Fireman I talked to said the place is fully engulfed. The firemen say there's just no question about it. There is no way to control it at this time. It's just all over the building.
Hey, Bill, I have with me a busboy in the supper club, Jim Keith, who can tell us what happened. He was inside when the fire broke out. Jim, could you tell us what you saw, what happened?
Well, I was working in the front dining room, and I looked over past the bar, and I saw the smoke coming out. It was just like a fog. Then I went back in the kitchen, and I came back, and the whole bar was smoke. You couldn't see your hand in front of your face.
And to the top of the building, the word we get from the top of the hill is that it's a complete ball of fire on the inside. There's very little hope of saving anything. Approximately 40 people believed to be dead at this time. Over to our right, they are beginning to load some Greyhound buses that were brought here on an emergency basis to take the people from some of the people who were here and not hurt. They will take them back to Cincinnati or to their homes. There are also some tank coaches. A steady stream of ambulances still arriving and leaving. Joanne, do you have any other information that we might pass along at this time?
No other information right at this moment, Kyle. I'm on my way back up the hill to see if I can get an update on what is happening and the latest figures.
Howard, do you have something?
They're saying there still may be people trapped in the building. As you know, Davidson has been here 10 days. I asked him, he said no, he's still worried about his conductor. He has not even gone on stage tonight.
Bill, that's about the story as we have it at this moment. Joanne is on her way back up a long, muddy, slippery hill to see what information she can pick up. As soon as she can get it back down to us, we'll have a report from her.
The scene live from the Beverly Hills Supper Club south of Newport. A sure sign that the times are a-changin'. A story coming up in just a little while, but first let's go back to our Edge truck live on the scene of the fire at the Beverly Hills Supper Club at Newport.
Bill, as you can see, the side of the Beverly Hills has just collapsed, one portion of the building, and we have an update on the the number of people who've been killed in this tragedy out here. The funeral director at one of the funeral homes, Mr. Grubbs, tells us at least 100. What's the scene like?
I just came from the scene, and there's bodies stacked like cordwood, and there are a lot of deaths. It's really a tragedy. I didn't expect this. There are too many. I didn't count personally 100, but I know there's an awful lot of deaths, and I understand from farm people that they are stacked like cordwood inside, and it's really a tragedy for Greater Cincinnati, and I certainly hope and pray. Now, your family are there.
That's inside the Beverly Hills they're stacked up?
Yes, sir.
And as you can see, here comes, it's a man who's been injured. A man who's been injured here at the Beverly Hills. They are still taking out people who've been injured in this fire, which broke out about 8:30 this evening here at the Beverly Hills Supper Club. Ambulances have just not stopped coming and going from this supper club, which just 7 years ago in June had a fire here in 1970. As you can see one more time, the side of the supper club has just now collapsed about 2 minutes ago, and one report is that some 100 people are now reported dead in this fire, which broke out in what they call the Zebra Room. And now back to you, Bill.
All right, thank you very much. Well, I understand that that funeral director did say there were 100 dead.
That's correct, Bill. He says that his count is at least 100 dead.
All right, thank you very much. We'll be in touch with you throughout the evening. I wonder if it is possible we could get somebody to either one of the hospitals or the Southgate VFW where they are setting up a morgue.
Okay, we'll try and do that. In the meantime, our live unit will remain here. Here comes Kyle Hill. Kyle, what can you tell me? What did you see up there, Kyle? We have reports now that there are about 100 people dead.
All right, we were on top of the hill just as a portion of the wall, I don't know if you could see it, but a portion of the wall has now collapsed. And the unofficial count that we got from the top of the hill, there are 90 dead at this point, but again, this is unconfirmed. I talked with a Cincinnati fireman, a Cincinnati fire captain, who was here with his wife when the fire broke out. He talked about what had happened on the inside. He said that he noticed some smoke and it was light at that time. The beginning of the evacuation, he said, was orderly. The first fire units that arrived on the scene, apparently there just wasn't enough manpower to contain it. He said it was a very fast spreading fire. Said there was little panic except at a couple
Ask him
of back doors.
if we can take a commercial
people
break.
Piled up there. He is still working on top of the hill. I asked him to come down and talk with us. He said no, he still had things to do. His family is safe. There are a lot of people asking questions as to how they notify their family that they are safe. If you are watching, I am trying right now to locate some authority that they can set a line of communication up and get notification for the people who are safe here.
Okay, some of the people are being transported away by bus.
I believe Joanne Moore is on top of the hill. I don't know if we can contact her. You might try to contact her. She might have information that additional information.
This is Joanne Moore on top of the hill.
Go ahead, Joanne. Tell us what you have. You're on the air.
Front of the building, I have no new additional information other than the 90 unconfirmed. The fire has broken through the front. From my standpoint, it looks like the building is completely gutted. The fire is worse than when I first got here.
All right, thank you very much, Joanne. That picture to our home viewers, again, is the live from the Beverly Hills Supper Club. Reporters Joanne Moore, Kyle Hill and Howard Ain are on the scene, doing, as usual, an excellent job. And we'll be staying with that report throughout the night, as it's necessary until we have the complete information. We have a second edge unit now moving up the hill toward the scene. We anticipate having an even better picture than we have at this time for you a little bit later on in the evening. Do you have anything else, gentlemen and lady from the scene? If not, we will come back to you a bit later in the program.
That's about it from the scene. As you've seen it, the building is just collapsing.
I think one thing should be mentioned right now. The Cincinnati Health Department's mobile care unit is just arriving. I don't know, you cannot pick it up, Clay. It's out of our light range, but it is here to offer whatever assistance they might be able to give at this point.
Can I get in? The top of the hill is now being evacuated. I'm going to try to stay up here, but I don't know how soon they'll run me out.
All right, thank you very much. Keep in touch. We'll be back with you a bit later. Again?
As you can see, more of the Beverly Hills side of the building has collapsed. There doesn't look to be too much left on this side facing I-27, Route 27. Kyle, there's not much more to say. The picture tells it all.
Howard, I have just been talking with some of the people from the Red Cross. The Red Cross is mobilizing over here at this time. We're trying to find out some system for notification of families and so forth on people who are safe. The Red Cross is at this time trying to establish a headquarters at the Sycamore Street, or on 7th Street in Cincinnati. As you can see there, more of the roof just fell in. The firemen are sort of beating a hasty retreat there as the portions of the facade of the nightclub fall.
Let's go up to Joanne Moore. Joanne, what's it like up there?
Well, I'm still on top of the hill. It's very hot up here. They have begun to wet down their own trucks for fear of the flames. The smoke and heat is burning is being blown toward the fire trucks. And once again, they are evacuating. Yes, sir, I am. As you can hear, they're trying to run me out of here. I'm going to stay as long as possible. Back to you, Kyle.
Just an update on that. You asked about the injured. Apparently all of the injured are not out, at least on the lower side of the hill from where we can stand, and probably the camera cannot pick it up, but you can on the behind us. They are still rescuing some people. Now, most of these people, the way I understand it, either are suffering from smoke inhalation, some of them shock, nervous exhaustion, and things like that. There are no serious injuries on this side of the hill. The rescue workers are working their way over, I guess from left on over into the area. Standing behind me, there are 3 people who were in the cabaret room waiting for the John Davidson performance. Could you tell me your names and just what happened inside? My name is Larry Hawk, and this is Linda Gilpin from the Lancaster area. And you are?
I'm Cynthia Coon from Newport.
From Newport. Now, could you tell us what happened? What did you see and hear? John Davidson show was just beginning, and they had the comedians on, and they brought one of the bus boys up and directed us to calmly exit by the doors, because there was...
You can see it is going up in the back of the building, as I mentioned before. That is what is now really going up.
There was a question about the morgue facility. Are you aware of that?
Question about what? Question.
Could you find out if the Southgate VFW Hall or the old fort in Fort Thomas is being used for a morgue? Which facility?
The old fort in Fort Thomas is being used as a morgue facility.
All right, thank you very much, Howard. We're having some severe audio problems on Kyle and Howard. Are you there?
Right. One indication of the intensity of this fire, and ashes are at my feet, and I'm several hundred yards at the bottom of the hill, right near Route 27. They're just ashes way down over here, so you can quite imagine how intense this fire is. The flames are just shooting 30, 40 feet into the sky, and the entire back of the supper club is now fully engulfed. It doesn't look like any of the supper club has been spared from this terrible fire that broke out about 8:30, 9 o'clock tonight. And as you've reported, estimates run from 90 to 100 people dead. And that's about all we have to report right now. Ambulances are continuing to come into this area, but we believe all the injured have been taken now, and a morgue has been set up.
Howard, I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but the small chapel, the little wedding chapel here at Beverly Hills has been spared so far from the fire, but as it moves toward the rear of the building, they are now starting to play water in an attempt to save the chapel, and to this point, that is about the only thing that hasn't been destroyed.
One paramedic I just talked to said they are still moving people out, which confirms what we had earlier. And he said it's the most disastrous fire he's ever seen.
Still in on top of the hill. I don't know if you can read me again, but as you can see, the building is starting to come down some more, and they are moving bodies once again. I've counted at least 3 within the last 5 minutes.
And go to the scene, and the Edge truck live on the scene at the Beverly Hills Supper Club, and see what the story is now with reporters Kyle Hill, Joanne Moore, and Howard Ain on the scene.
That's the picture as it is happening right now. Our Edge truck is there. That little notch in the front of that wall that you see is part of the wall that has just
Collapsed. That line was parallel to the bottom of your screen a short time ago, and it has within the last 10 or 15 minutes now collapsed.
I believe Howard has some information from the top of the hill. Howard, can you read us?
Yes, I just saw a young woman being brought out. She was dead. I talked to one of the people carrying her out, and he said there are at least 15 more bodies in there in this one section of the building, and your heart just drops every time you see these stretchers just wheeling bodies. I've seen 3 so far, and it's quite a sight.
So that report from Howard Ain as he has traveled around to the back of the Beverly Hills where the largest exodus of dead bodies is going on.
3.
Sits back in the
Wait a minute. Come on over here. We're fire truck. Could you tell me what you witnessed? Well, I was in the back where they were bringing the bodies out. There must be 75 or 100 bodies. They were coming out. They were already dead in the back of the building. Still in there, 75 to 100? No, I don't know how many are in the building. I have no idea. I was outside the building, and I was trained for those that they were bringing out, and they have a temporary morgue back there with something like, I would say, about 75 at least. That's behind the building. So you've been busy administering last rites. I was praying for people, asking God to have mercy on them, whether they were Christian or whatever religion they were. Thank you very much. What is your name, sir? I'm Father John Kroger. I'm in Fort Thomas at St. Thomas Church. Thank you very much. This is Howard Ain at the top of the hill.
Let's switch to the remote scene now, and reporter Howard Ain, I believe, standing by. Okay, Howard, are you there? Let's switch to the remote scene, and Howard Ain. Can you hear us, Howard?
Okay, we're at the back of the building one more time. And, Chief, they're looking for the chief who's on the scene. Chief, can you tell us what is it like inside there? There's a man in charge right here. Chief, can you tell us what it's like inside the building? Yes, I can. It's like an inferno. Like an inferno. Thank you, Chief. Quite a scene up here. A group of nurses now coming. We're exhausted. You're exhausted? What is it like up here? Terrible. It's like the movie of Earthquake. Just so many bodies, it's terrible. A group of nurses now leaving the scene. We'll keep you posted. Howard Ain at the top of the hill. Okay, you're Dr.
Vernon Lee, Covington surgeon, and
What's the situation?
The situation, I was over at Booth Hospital. I was about, I think, the first doctor there, at least I was the first surgeon that arrived there. They have in the neighborhood around 20 people there. The ones that I saw said they were trampled on and had smoke inhalations. They were all complaining of chest pain, difficulty breathing. One was there, had about a 25% burn. One of the other surgeons taken her to the operating room. They have adequate supplies for at least that many. And they had about 18 empty beds at the hospital, so we think that they can be covered. If not, then we'll have what we call decompress. Let's get around the hospital and get the people that are not critically ill out.
Here?
I never, when I got here, the situation, their bodies out in the yard and that sort of thing, and they said they're in a neighborhood of 100, might be that many inside, nobody knows.
Firemen now. I'm Wellington Lee, Dr. Lee's son. It's mostly firemen now treated for smoke inhalation. The worst ones have already been sent on to the hospitals, but from time to time you'll see that. Mostly, from what we've seen of the bodies, when you agree, Doc, it's mostly smoke inhalation.
It's smoke inhalation rather than any burn of any consequence, which wouldn't kill anybody that fast anyway, or other injuries such as internal injuries or head injuries and things like that. It seems to be mostly from smoke inhalation.
All right, now if we may, let's switch back to the scene. Reporter Howard Ain is calling for air. Howard, what do you have?
Okay, we're near the chapel area, and this is the part, one of the parts that is still in flames, and it's exceedingly, well, with Art Botterill, it's exceedingly quiet here.
This was part of the area that they were originally bringing out bodies as they were recovered. The bodies have all been cleared now. Of course, there have been many more since I was last through. Still, they're bringing things out, hoses, piece of equipment, and, of course, the occasional body still recovering in there.
Let's move over to the area where, all right, just moving over to the area where the hosers are fighting the fire is still going inside the building here. I don't see anybody bringing bodies out at this point. I know that's
most of them are cleared out now, and of course this area has suffered such severe flame that it's quite possible that it might be unrecoverable.
They
for
can't
a long
even
time.
get in. This is what the nurse was telling me earlier, that it's just a sheet of flame in here, and there are still people probably inside.
In there. There are areas they haven't been able to examine.
8 and 9 o'clock this evening, and they all look like they had smoke inhalation. None of them were really burned. It was all smoke inhalation. It looked like from stampeding out that they didn't have a good exit, Okay. All right, that's it from this angle at the top of the hill. Back to you.
And it's just a little bit south. No, you're looking at the north wall of the Beverly Hills Suburb. I'm trying to get oriented from where our camera position is. They moved around a bit, but you are looking now at what used to be the north wall. A dramatic shot there of firefighters from the northern Kentucky area actually on top of some of the supporting beams on the structure.
Every few minutes you see stretchers just coming in. They've laid the bodies out on the hill. It's in the dark, you can't see it, but as they move through the spotlights, we're seeing them just slowly take them over to the rescue units and eventually down the hill. That's about it. I'll go make that check for you. Constantly, anything else?
This is Howard at the top of the hill.
Go ahead.
You won't believe this. They have brought up a army truck, and they're taking the bodies and putting it on the truck now. There are 2 rows.
Howard's a little overcome. It's easy to be overcome. The bodies are laid out here, 2 rows of them, more on top of the hill. They've brought in a truck from the Army base over in Fort Thomas, and they're preparing to load the victims up and take them out. No one knows how many there may still be inside. No one even seems to know exactly how many have already been recovered. From the top of the hill with Howard Ain, this is Art Botterill.
Thank you, Art. When I saw that Army stake truck moving up the hill, there was really about only one thing it could be going for. And I couldn't imagine them stacking bodies in that Army stake truck. But apparently, as you say, they are. I would think there should be some perhaps less bizarre way to do it, but then I'm not involved in that business, actually, so I don't know.
Already, we got a major fire, a major disaster here. The head count is over 100 now. There's a plane went down. Yes, sir.
The worst thing you've seen. They're just loading.
We're moving them to a morgue now at the VA hospital in Fort Thomas. Temporary morgue has been set up.
And they're just going to move, evidently, one body on top of the other?
Well, best we can. We got so many people here. We got all available squads we can use to move, transport people. We're called the Army in now. This is just the ceasefire. People are expired. Live has been transported for the last 2-3 hours. Maybe a little longer than that. I don't know. I've been here since 8-something. And I don't know how many's died en route to the hospital. I really don't know.
How many would you estimate there are?
We got
2 rows?
We got 99 here, plus what's up on the hill, and we haven't took a count out in front yet. There's 99 people right here.
99 in 2 rows here.
99 just right in this lot, plus what's on the hill. Plus the ones out in front. We didn't take a count of that because the fire got too hot. We had to move out. It appears that there are actually more up on the hill than there are down here. Everybody's been tagged for ID that possibly can be made ID on. That's all I can tell you right now, Phil.
As gently as they can do it, they are just stacking the bodies up on stretchers and then putting them on this Army truck. For now, this is Howard Ain with Art at the top of the hill.
All right, if I could confirm one thing with you, Howard. He said that there were 99 that had been identified, but over 100 were dead. Is that the figure?
That's essentially correct. That's what he said. There are 99 in this row of, there are 2 rows here. Then there are what, another?
About 50 over the other side.
About 50 on the other side
and of
the hill.
We're more stacked over the hill.
And then there are
right over a little rise. The 99 are only those facing us here. And
about what? About 200 to 300 more?
What do they figure?
That's what they figure. On the other side, and inside, an officer tells me.
Right, this is Sergeant of the Highland Heights Police Department.
All right, back to you.
Let's check that. If that is true, that would change things dramatically. Could you check that, please, and get back to me?
All right, stand by.
If it is so, we're not reporting it as true at this point, but one of our reporters has just been told that besides the 100 people that they can see from their vantage point on top of the hill, there may well be another 200 to 300 more around the other side of the building and inside the back of the building. We are going at this point with a figure of just over 100. We will stick with that figure until we're able to hear anything different.
I think.
Let's switch to Howard. Howard, are you there?
All right, we're back at the top of the hill where they are still loading bodies on. Now they brought another Army truck up, so they now have 2 Army trucks, and they're loading the bodies on these trucks. There are 4 lines, 4 rows of bodies here. One official said there were 99 by count here on this hillside, and he doesn't know how many more in other areas. They are literally stacking the bodies on the trucks and some of the bodies are not covered, and I just saw one. A woman, and it's a gruesome sight, to say the least. Art?
Well, Howard, I think that's the only word describing what this is. It's a horrible and a gruesome sight to see.
I don't know how these fellas are doing it. They have fantastic fortitude to do this type of thing. They are literally stacking the bodies, I would say 7, 8 deep on the Army trucks.
This is a motley group of police officers, life squadsmen, some volunteers out of uniform here.
Live report from reporter Howard Ain, live on the scene at the Beverly Hills Supper Club. Howard?
We're talking with Eugene Barber, a minister here. What have you been doing tonight, sir?
Howard, I came to try to find my services with whoever might be found alive that I could pray with. But in my 2 hours here, I've only found one person, and the rest of the people's bodies, of course, were lifeless. And as I told you earlier, I sort of feel my own helplessness as a human being, but at the same time, as a minister, I wanted to be here to be of any help I could be, and my thoughts go out and my prayers go up for the families of these people who do not yet know about their loved ones. It's something that I cannot comprehend. I'm standing here looking at the chapel. The chapel is the only part of the structure that has not been damaged, and I feel that I should be over there praying, but at the same time, I stand here in this field with you amongst all the other people who are here trying to help, but I just pray God's blessing upon those whose loss is great tonight.
It's a scene that we look upon, yet we cannot believe. Right at my feet, a dead man and an entire row of dead people. Something like out of the movie.
Yes, sir, but it's real. It's something that we cannot put down to movie stuff. This is real, and my heart aches for those who remain.
We just got a report a few moments ago, hard as it is to believe, a group of people were running towards the top of the hill, and the report was because people were looting the dead bodies.
I heard that same report from the gentleman who came by yesterday. I verify that from what I heard him say. A tragedy.
Hard to believe. And the process of removal continues.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Thank you very much, Eugene Barber, minister.
Erlanger United Methodist Church.
Thank you. This is Howard Ain at the top of the hill.
Live to the scene and reporter Howard Ain. Howard?
Okay, I'm at the top of the hill, and believe it or not, I'm standing here in front of 2 rows of bodies. Believe it or not, some people have been caught up here looting some of these dead bodies. Police have just stopped one man and are questioning. There are still 9 bodies at the base of the hill that have yet to be put on these 2 Army trucks. The 2 Army trucks containing the bodies have not yet moved out. It's a gruesome scene. These bodies up here are covered with sheets. Some bodies are only covered with a washcloth on their face. And now a 3rd Army truck is moving back and is about to take those 9 bodies that I mentioned before and load those on the trucks and move them to the morgues. And there are another, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 14, 20, 30 more bodies up here on the top of the hill that no one has gotten to as yet. They are, as I say, just covered with sheets. This is Howard Ain. Art, you have anything to add?
Well, I understood that for a while they were bringing people up here to identify as many of these bodies as they could. It's not clear now which are being moved out now, the ones that have already been identified or those which have not. As to the fire itself, the fire from this side, from the south side of the building, or the north side rather, appears to be coming under control. It's still burning, still breaking through endpoints, but it seems to be coming under control. The fear that it might spread to the chapel, which is being used as sort of a support staging area, has now ended. Apparently, they're confident that they can keep this wall up.
And the chapel, as we've mentioned, is the only part, and in this side anyway, the A-frame structure that is untouched by fire. It is has light in it, electricity in it, and as one minister told me a while back, he feels like going over there and praying. Howard Ain at the top of the hill.
I think we should be able to switch back
To the scene. Let's go to Howard Ain. He's calling for air. Howard?
All right, they're bringing one of the Army trucks up now to the top of the hill to load those rows of bodies at the top of the hill. As I said, about 30 bodies up there. And we're talking with a policeman from, what city you're from? City of Fort Thomas. Okay, you've been in this operation. What's your feeling at this point? Well, it's kind of horrible to see. The count I understand in the area we are, there were 99 bodies here. That's not counting any other bodies in other parts. I know there's a number of bodies in the front. They're doing their best to identify them now and take them to the morgue. Has everybody been identified that's up here? Negative. There were like ladies that didn't have their purses with them, and some people got their clothing burned away, and right now they're unable to identify them. They're going to move these, none of the trucks have so far moved out. What is the plan? Right now they're going to be taken to the Fort Thomas Armory, where that's being set up as a morgue. The state police are there for security. Dr. Stein, the coroner for Campbell County, is there, and they're going to store the bodies there for identification. All right, they're moving a group of lights on the scene right now at the top of the hill. Let's go on up there. They're now beginning to move these bodies onto the truck. There was never any hope for any of these people, officer? As they were being brought out, I know I gave some mouth-to-mouth resuscitation and that, and they were brought out. If they were pronounced dead, they were put to the side. They went in for more bodies. I know in the height of it, they managed to find one girl alive in a hallway, and there were dead bodies around her. But as soon as they were pronounced dead, they went in to see if they could find something else alive. Did that girl make it? I have no idea. All I know is they brought her out alive. That's all I know. Okay. And now this truck, they're saying no more. This is it. No more bodies can be brought on, and they'll have to stop the line, an assembly line type approach, as they have now loaded all 3 trucks, it appears, Army trucks, and they'll have to bring in more. I understand they've got a total of 5 or 6 Army trucks. As they load them up, they'll bring another truck in. If those load up too many, we have a number of ambulances, life squad, and paramedic units that will be taken into force to move the bodies. Thank you very much, officer. Howard Ain at the top of the hill.
Kyle? All right, thank you, Howard. I saw Kyle standing there with a fireman that looks like he's been busy. Kyle?
Thank you, Bill. Yes, I'm talking with a Taylor Mill Fire Department fireman, I should say. Can I ask your name, and can you tell us where you were working tonight?
Jerry Roark, and I was in the back of the building around the chapel, and a lot of fire there. And in the front of the building, just in them 2 places, really, the only 2 places I was.
Was it possible to fight? How did you fight a fire like this? I understand you got here about 11 o'clock, so that was just about the height of the fire.
Right. Well, I just squirt water on it, so you can do, I guess.
It was really hot, though. There wasn't much the water was doing at that point.
Water puts out fire.
to the Beverly Hills Club, and reporter Howard Ain at the top of the hill with this report. Howard?
All right, I'm talking to several doctors who tell me there are more people inside. What is this area called?
This is the Beverly Hills.
What part of it?
This is back towards the kitchen area, back towards some of the, I think you call them party rooms. There were some areas inside where people were trapped. They didn't know where to go. And there were some areas on the inside where people were simply stacked up.
Now, have you been in there?
Have I been in there? I've been around the corner. I have not been in walking through myself. I was taking care of people as they were coming out.
And you saw there were still many more in there now?
That was the report that I was given by people before this whole fire came backwards. This was now about an hour and a half, 2 hours ago.
All right. To your knowledge, they have not yet been brought out then?
Not to my knowledge. At this point, there's no way of really estimating exactly how many more people inside we still have.
Okay, and it was because of the flames and you said the heat that prevented them. Now, I see, wait a minute, here comes the contingent of firemen. They're asking for the coroner's office. The firemen have just come out. There are more bodies in there, sir?
At least 20 that I...
At least 20 more bodies in there. Continue to just came out now. At least 20 more bodies in there, and that's the area that we're just talking about. They couldn't get into now. Now the fire is out, and they have been able to get in and see at least 20 more people. Okay. Back behind the bar, 10 high. Further back 10 high behind the bar. Now you're going to go and get... All right. Now you've got to go and get some more stretchers.
Right. I'm not a doctor, I'm a psychologist. They called me and I came, but I was here when we began, and I was in there. They're there. There's no way to get them out at present.
Okay. Right now it looks like they are going to go in. We'll try and get you another report. At the top of the hill.
Yeah, go ahead, Howard.
Okay, the word now is we're going to leave them in there for the time being. The building is structurally unsound. Is that it? That's it. And Chief Colleen, what do you think? We've got at least 20 in there.
Looks like 15 or 20 of in one area. And this someday will be merely a report on paper and something for arson investigators and coroners, examiners to probe for years and years to come. But tonight, it's a very tragic and a very heart-rending experience.
Kyle, we have information that we received here in the newsroom from a man who knows the Beverly Hills building. He says that a gas main goes directly behind the building and that it also goes up under the kitchen. Now, I know Howard Ain was back there by that kitchen area. Is there any more reports on the danger of a gas main blowing up?
Information is no. Howard, do you have?
Chief Collini told me there are still gas pockets. He said CG&E assured him that the gas was turned off, but he had still had reports of gas pockets. But the firemen are back there. I was back there until just coming down here. They are playing it very, very gingerly. They are not going in because of that possibility that the gas is still there. And that's another reason why they're waiting till morning to remove the other bodies.
The fire was a tremendously hot one. Even by normal large fire standards, the firemen that we talked to said it was just searing and intense smoke, the carpeting and so forth. This gave problems to the firemen. You probably can't see it, but our news car right here is just covered with ash. It just snowed black ash during the height of the fire down here, and it was really a cooker inside. Joanne, do you have anything else to add?
Like I said, in a state of shock, Kyle. Just thinking back, reflecting on what I saw, the firemen at one point had trouble with their own. They were kind of stepping on each other in that, in their haste to get the injured out, some of the rescue units ran over the hoses, breaking.
Okay, at this point, Nick Clooney has arrived on the scene. Nick, what are your thoughts?
Well, Howard, I don't know whether this is new information. You may well have already passed this on, but I, of course, was on the scene a few moments ago talking to Chief Riesenberg, who informed me, and there was a new piece of information to me, that Beverly Hills is not equipped with sprinkler system.
In this thick smoke, nobody could see with the electricity out, too. They were climbing on top of each other. One of the first firemen on the scene said, I opened the door and people were just on their heads, literally stacked up one on top of the other. They had clawed over each other trying to get out.
Yes, Chief Riesenberg indicated that, and of course I'm sure you have also already reported that they'll be bringing a large crane here tomorrow.
There were just sheets over some of them, washcloths over others. This is what it looked like earlier. It was just an incredible sight. You don't believe that these are people. Your feeling is just, it's grotesque, the sight, and your mind does not want to believe what your eyes see.
Did it become a mechanical thing?
after a while it did. And then I went up on top of the hill. And there were, because they had finally gotten, the first 2 rows of bodies, moved on to these trucks, the Army trucks. And then I went up to the top of the hill, and there were another 2 rows of bodies stretching over the hill. You know, it was just, here is this beautiful view of the city lights down below, and right in front of you, bodies. Just 2 contrasting sights that were incredible to behold.
Tonight was just the start, I guess, of a story that's going to continue for days, months, years.
One of the most
in the Cincinnati area.
Right. One of the most poignant things was I talked to one of these policemen. I said, "Have you identified all the bodies?" And he said, "Negative." He said, "Some of the ladies didn't have their purses with them, naturally," and it just kind of clicks with you. Yes, they don't have their purses with them, so we cannot identify them.
Yeah.
Incredible.
You did a super job tonight, and I guess we'll be going around the clock and through the day tomorrow with live cut-ins such as this. We'll be live on the air just after dawn in the morning. From the scene again as work begins to pull apart very carefully the remainder of the building, I guess, and go in and see
they're
what's
going to
left.
wait till the morning because of the possibility of the gas, and because the building is not at all structurally sound. They want to wait till it's light to see what they're doing, but they believe there may be as many as 50 more bodies, 50 more bodies in there.
So we will we still have more film and tape coming into our studio. John Davidson has found his musical director,
Yes,
we understand, and that's good news. He was over at St. Elizabeth's Hospital. We filmed him over there, and other people from St. Elizabeth's. Just a terrible story
I guess,
tonight.
yeah, what's going through everybody's mind is, do I know somebody? Was a friend of mine in there tonight?
Everybody in this community will probably be touched in some way or another because they will either know somebody or know somebody who knows somebody.
Right.
And with that many folks who have been hurt and killed, it's going to affect the community first person and for a long time to come.
Yes.
Thank you, Hart. We'll be back with more later.